Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are with Jaime Gabriel. She is the founder of Gabriel Consulting Services, and they are an HR and talent strategy consultant company, and they work with small to mid-sized businesses. So nice to have you, Jamie. Thank you so much. It's an honor to have you here on the show. I was wondering if you can start by telling our listeners a little bit about yourself, your background, and your role at Gabriel Consulting Services, please.
Yeah, sure. I'm excited to be here to chat with you today. It's always nice to have an opportunity to put more words behind just faces and words on screens. So, my name's Jaime Gabriel. I founded Gabriel Consulting Services a little over a year ago. Prior to that, I have over 20 plus years of HR strategic leadership at an executive level for a variety of different enterprise organizations spanning different industries. My background blends a traditional HR business partner for global organizations with over 20 to 30,000 employees, all the way up to 100,000 person global organizations. I also have a deep background in talent acquisition, talent management, and everything in between from recognition through development and leadership. Inevitably, I hit a moment a few years ago where my personal life and my professional life didn't feel as aligned as they should be. And so I decided that the skills and things that I had were something that I should figure out how to make better alignment with. And so I started to talk to friends who moved on to smaller organizations and realized there's an opportunity for small and medium sized businesses to learn about global enterprises and take from it the parts of the people strategy that worked for them. And what's really fun about that is that it's a different mixture each time, depending on where a business is. And it doesn't need the same level of hierarchy and bureaucracy that comes with enterprise. And so I've been able to put myself in a consultative position where I'm either a fractional leader or come in and drive projects to help small and medium sized businesses drive forward in transformation.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. I was wondering if you can tell us a little bit about the values and mission of Gabriel Consulting Services.
Sure. Our mission's pretty simple. I'll start there. Our mission is to ensure that people get to be people. What do I mean by that? It sounds super simplistic, but it's actually not. It's unwinding companies' processes and programs and understanding that people are at the heart of it. Inevitably, in a world that talks a ton about AI and new tech and new product, there needs to be a reason why you're hiring someone in, why you're retaining them, why you're growing them, why you're developing them. Unfortunately, many processes in a traditional HR function don't think about people first. They think about compliance and execution. That's important, but there is a way to get that done while inspiring people to stay with you. And that's really where innovation will guide you forward, no matter what type of text you have. So, our mission is for people to be people and make sure that people strategy actually has people at the heart of it. From a value standpoint, it kind of blends to what we're looking for to support. We want clients who feel like they're being helped to stand on their own. We're not looking for forever consulting agreements. We're not looking for forever best friends either in that coaching space. We want to give you tools so that you can run and go with it and move on. Because at the end of the day, interesting work is coming into a new puzzle each time. And if we're working with the same client over and over again for the same thing, it actually doesn't make it much fun for us either.
Great. Thank you, Jamie. Very inspiring. I was wondering if you can tell us now what it would look like to work with you.
Yeah, sure. I'm a firm believer that you have to get along with your head of people first and foremost. It doesn't really matter the background as much as it matters the ability to jive, to shut the door and say you can have those private conversations. So to me, the first step is making sure that we can do that, that you're willing to hear what I have to say and I'm willing to hear what you have to say, or with any of the partners that I bring in, because I actually have a pretty deep bench of individuals that support us. From there, it's really identifying what are the bite-sized small milestones and what are the habits the organization needs to change in order to accomplish those things. Anyone who comes in and says they're going to overhaul your entire people program and make it be this big Fortune 500 and it's going to get voted top all the time in less than a year, it's not going to be done. It's too big. People are based on small habits, and your programs and processes have to be too. So working with me is identifying what are those things that need to happen in a larger scale, a set timeline, and how do we break them down into small, manageable chunks. Because change management is the number one thing that makes it that people strategies can't be executed. People can only take on so much at a time. And so working with me is understanding how to methodically get into small bite-sized changes and tweak programs and processes to get to a larger outcome and faster than you know it.
Thank you. Um, just to make it a little bit more tangible, would you mind sharing a story of the value that you bring to a client, for example, without naming names or anything like that?
Yeah, of course. Um, I have worked with clients in a variety of different projects. Things as simple as redesigning an employee handbook to feel more modern and engaging, and things as large as rebuilding an entire employee value proposition. So I'll pick something maybe a little more in the middle. I think recruiting is very tangible to anyone, whether you're in HR or not. You've either tried to be hired or you've hired someone. And so I've worked with multiple clients on their recruiting process, but I'll pick on one in particular. Um, More of a medium sized business, I'd say, pretty established, been around for a while, have had kind of the same leaders in place, nothing wrong with any of them, but they just felt like they weren't getting the next level talent in and they didn't understand why. And so at first, like many things, they pointed to the applicant tracking system and said that was the problem. And sure, it could have been part of the problem, but it wasn't the only problem. And so, partnering with me in less than 30 days, I did a full diagnostics of what recruiting looks like. What does the external market see? How do candidates interact? What's the recruiter process? What's the technical process? Where is technology working for you? Where is it working against you? And then, how is the interview process going from all parties, not just the work overall, but what does the candidate feel? What does a candidate who gets displaced feel? What does a candidate who progresses feels? And how do the interviewers feel? Are they ready? Do they know what to do? And what we ended up doing is building a laundry list of, call it 45 small moments that could be changed. But we didn't change all of them at once. We bucketed them into 90 days worth of change. What should happen in the first 30? What tests should we do to make sure that that improvement helped? What do we do in 60? Again, what tests did we have to do to make sure it helped? And then in 90. And then at the end of 90, we went back and we spoke to candidates and interviewers to find out how it worked. We ended up identifying a few key things. The first was we weren't maximizing the tech tools that we had because our processes were messing up the technology. So often do we think that our internal processes are unicorns and they are just perfect, but inevitably these tools, they crowdsource, they know what works well. And so finding a better balance instead of trying to push your process onto a tool or a tool's process onto you. The second thing we learned was that we actually didn't have clear and clarity around what we expected of people when they became an employee. And so the interview process itself showed that in the questions that were being asked, in the ways in which we were knocking applicants out of the system and moving on. And then the third piece was that we didn't actually use the most streamlined process in general. There were definitely spots where we were inserting human intervention, where technology could have taken on, and we were using technology where human intervention would have been a better experience. And so after tweaking all those things, you had to look for your results. And we inevitably dropped time to hire by 15% for most jobs, up to 25% for some jobs. And our retention overall went up. We had seen a drop at about 3 to 4 months in certain job categories and 7 to 8 months in others. And all of those pushed out to 12 months, which meant that at least from a recruiting standpoint, we were doing better and we were bringing people in. So that's an example of one area where I've been helpful.
That's great. Thank you so much for all those visuals. I'm sure they help the listener as well. I was wondering, what major shifts or trends are you seeing in your specific industry?
Yeah, I'm seeing a major push towards process improvement over employee experience. There's not a major focus like there had been for the past, call it 3 to 5 years, on designing big value propositions and employee experience moments, which some people will view as, the free lunch type things and the playing games in the office. Rather, the focus in the people function right now is process redesign, efficiencies, really reviewing what workload is being done that could be done better with a technology tool versus as an individual, and what work a technology tool has taken away human touch and where should human touch be back.
Mhm.
There's also an underpinning focus on total rewards, benefits, and global compensation programs, and how they really are an asset to driving forward the right employee practices has been lifting up. It's always been there, but it's taking a higher seat at the table.
Yeah, would you say all those things that you listed out are positive things?
At the end of the day, if the company is doing it to retain the best talent, it is
Hmm.
positive.
Okay.
I can't tell you that it's always positive. Sometimes there's efficiencies being looked for, and if finances is the number one reason for doing these things, I understand why from a business perspective, but it doesn't necessarily mean it'll come out the best way for the people.
Hmm. So then, how is using these trends and shifts affecting your growth strategy, Jamie?
So if you use them in a way in which you position yourselves to find the exact right talent that will innovate or drive your product or your revenue streams forward in whichever way you're doing that, these can be game changers, right? If you have the right individual and role, you could be much more efficient in driving forward, but you can then ensure that that person doesn't leave you. Having the right total rewards program means that you understand what your employees need and you're providing for them before they get concerned that you won't. It also means that your programs and your processes are tied to rewarding the reasons why you hired them. But this assumes that you understand what you need as an employer and you're being really clear and very focused in the processes from hire through retire to underpin those things. And that's really that big trend on process improvement or redesign, is looking to ensure that what you want out of an employee, what you need for your organization to grow, you're actually looking for when you're in the marketplace looking to hire. You are developing that based upon what you find. You are rewarding that. You are retaining that. And if they so choose to retire from you, whatever that capacity is, you're maintaining a strong alumni network because like minded folks know each other. And you want to make sure that that next word of mouth comes back to you. That can really help you grow when you have the right individuals in role.
Right. And so, where are you seeing Gabriel Consulting Services in 6 months to a year?
We're pretty close to capacity right now in the way in which we support clients. We hope to be in a place where we maybe even need to bring on more individuals to help us. I have augmented support in lots of different ways. Right now, we're heavily focused in more small, medium businesses that are going through transformation, predominantly with growth or preparation for next big milestones. I would love to see that continue. There is a part that does very small amounts of offsites and leadership inspiration. I think that's an area that could be exciting to grow, but it's also a great way for an organization to get a kind of dip of their toe into ways to make improvement as opposed to taking on a full. And at the moment, pretty closed off to it, but there is a very small amount of folks that I bring on just for my own personal coaching. I don't make it a huge amount of my time because I think it's important to have a few people so that I can understand them really well. But in 6-ish months, probably in a spot to take on one or two more of those.
Great. Um, so I'm just gonna say the final words for this podcast. So this is Jamie Gabriel from Gabriel Consulting Services. If you'd like to speak with Jamie, you can reach her through gabrielconsultingservices.com, correct? Okay. And she also has her personal profile as well as the business profile on LinkedIn. So those are two other ways that you can reach out. And I was wondering in closing, Jamie, do you have any final words that you'd like to say to our listeners?
Yeah. First and foremost, thanks for listening. I think it's really impressive when people take time out of their day to find ways to learn more. And I think there's an element of adult learning that needs to be more included in everything we do as people professionals. Change is rapid in the world that we are in today. That doesn't mean that everyone's digesting it. And adult learning is the first step to recognizing that your employees need space and time to do those things. So,
Mhm.
awesome that you're one of those individuals to even listen. And if there's a way in which I can be of help, which doesn't necessarily mean hiring me, I'm really a big fan of sounding board groups. I love being someone who can call upon someone, and I'm a firm believer in karma. So when you put the right things out there to help others, eventually the world will help you too. So feel free to reach out. Don't be intimidated.
Thank you so much again. It's been a joy speaking with you. I learned so much. And we've been speaking with Jaime Gabriel from Gabriel Consulting Services. And have a nice day, Jamie.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.